Can you hear my chickens? Oh my God, they're so obnoxious. They usually lay, and then when they lay their eggs, they announce that they're gonna lay their eggs. So obviously one is giving us a little egg, which is fun. We've had, hi Mom. We've had our chickens now for 11 years, and one of them is 11 years old. It was the very first chicken we had, so if they're squawking out there, ignore them. Anyway, I'm so glad you guys tuned in today because I'm super excited. I'm in a new spot in my studio. I'm in one of my favorite corners of my studio. It's where I do a lot of my reading and oh gosh, I've already got the sign that says trying to reconnect. Everybody has to stay off the internet. Anyway, well, hopefully, hey Karen, hopefully we can get through this. I have with me some very large pieces that I did that I was telling you guys about yesterday. So I want to show you these mermaids and fairies. I found a whole bunch of different things yesterday as I was going through my collage pieces. And for those who are jumping on that may not know the backstory to the mermaids is, I think it was about 6 or 7 years ago. Time is flying by. So I feel like it was about 6 years ago. I took my very first online course. It was I think it was about a 6-week class, and it was all about mermaids, and it was by Jane Davenport and Tisha Moore. And look, you want to come on my live? No. It was all about Jane Davenport and Tisha Moore, some mermaids, and hold on one second. Okay, bye-bye, Lucky. He's sleeping. Unless you want to show your cute face to everybody, okay? Just shut the door, sweetie. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I should have a sign on my studio that said, so the class was amazing. I really encourage everybody to take some sort of an art class if they can online. It was the very first one I did, and it was something that I'd never really done before. Really lots of detailed mixed media collage work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my pieces and give you a little story behind them. And I might just get down on the ground. I'm down in the corner here just so I can make sure I'm showing you them close up and far away. I couldn't even get it on the whole screen. So this one right here is called Best Friends Forever. So a lot of people look at this one, and also it could be like two sisters or something like that, but it was called Best Friends Forever for me. And it's a pretty tall piece. So let's see, there's the bottom, right? And then it goes, I'm trying to make this as not crooked as possible. It's a little hard to do free holding it. I'm gonna leave it right. I'm gonna actually bring it a little bit closer. Get my on, okay. So what I did was I take a piece of watercolor paper and I pencil in what I wanted to draw. So these were the mermaids. The whole class was on mermaids, so I did mermaids. And this actually wasn't part of my class. It was after my class was over. I was so inspired to be making these mermaids that I sort of made them on my own. And the reason I did them larger was because I would then get a high-res image of them and then make some prints that I'll show you. So I start with my figures in a pencil everywhere. So I'm doing all this watercolor on here. You can kind of see, whoopsie. And then I start to hand cut out all of these individual pieces. Let me get my glasses wherever they are. Okay, so hopefully you won't get too seasick with this going back and forth. But all of these pieces are hand cut, and some of these are actually drawn in. So some of them are drawings. The mermaids themselves, these girls, they're all painted with some pencils. But what's really cool are the fins, and I have another few pieces too that you can see them much better. But these are all little hand cut, and what I do is I either cut them with those tiny scissors, or I use a hole punch and layer them on top of each other. Let's see if I can get you the fins in here. Okay, I can. Fins are all hand cut too, and they're just more oblongs, and I sort of layered them on top of each other. And what else is cute in here? Oh, and my little turtles. So I was doing a bunch of little turtles, and those are hand cut, and I think this was a little face that I made here. So the fun thing too is like, you know, I use that Tombow adhesive. So you can see it all along the side here are all my adhesive marks every time I did it. So I would put it on a piece of foam core. So this is on a piece of foam core, so I could literally carry it into the dining room. I mean, back then I didn't have any sort of art studio or anything like that. I had nowhere to paint or draw. I would cover up a kitchen table or a dining room table, and I would just go to town. So the reason I did it on foam core is that I could put it on my knees and work on it and move it around, and it would keep it all nice and neat. Well, not really neat, but and then I would just use painter's tape to put it down. So this is one that's probably maybe 26 inches tall by 2 feet across, something like that. But what I do is once I have them finished, I take them to get a high-res scan, and you can get that done. You can get scans of your work made anywhere in like a good photo place or something like that, or somebody local. And then I get prints made. And so I've been selling these at my shows and also on my Etsy store, my online store, but I get really nice prints made. And the reason I can make them is because the quality. So that is this one. So this is called Best Friends Forever, and it's in a lot of sweet girls' homes. That makes me so happy. I'm going to put that over there. Now this one, I think I did after that one. All right, so this one is, let's see if we can get this one to show you guys. This one is my pink-haired girl. She's got these like crazy long arms. And again, this one was done in, let me get it a little closer. Watercolor first. So I drew her face and her. And then what I did was I sort of did the composition. I have these little turtles and fish, and then I started adding collage. I can't remember, it's been a while, but a lot of these collage pieces are hand done and then repeated. Like I'll find some patterns. I'll do these like half circles over and over, and then use some of that same patterns in the fish. And these are done. I was gonna go grab it, but probably knock the camera over and it'd be a disaster. But these papers right here, these are done with those papers that you can find in a really nice paper shop. You know, they're really nice, pretty papers that you can wrap gifts with. They're kind of art papers. And the hair was done with colored pencils and watercolors. And here's another close-up of her fins. So let's see. These are really tiny fins, and they're all hand done. And then her scale, sorry. And then here's her fins. And I really like this tail. It reminds me so much of a quilt. So this is my pink-haired lady. All right, so I'm gonna put that one here. And, oh, it's so hard to sit on your knees. I probably have to do some yoga. I'm not, okay, let me show you my fairies after my, whoopsie, my mermaids. Hold on, I got a couple more mermaids to show you guys. All right. This one is one that I wanted to do for, oh, Karen, I see I got my glasses on. I could read now. How do I protect the art? Well, here's the deal about watercolor is I protect my art now by putting a brown piece of paper over it, craft paper, and I have them all together in a big storage container. However, my very favorite one, which I'll show you guys some cards and stuff, but here's to show you. This is called Sweet Mermaid. I had in my kitchen, and after a few years, the whole thing kind of faded. It was such a bummer. So for watercolor, you have to be really careful to make sure that if you put it under glass, you want to make sure that you have a very special glass, like a UV glass. So when I protect them now, I just have a piece of paper over them and I put them away in like a flat file. Next time I ever frame one, I'll definitely put it under special glass. Okay, so this one is, this one's kind of cool because you can see I'm changing my position sitting wise. You can see how I would take a hole punch. Okay, so this is a good example of how I do the fins. I take the hole punch, and then on the fins, I layer them on top of each other. So when this went to print and I made it into cards, I knew that I was going to, you know, have this edge gone. This is going to be a straight edge. You can crop it in Photoshop. You put it like that. You can crop it whatever you want. So you can see how they would overlap. And then when I was closer to the body, when I needed to do this edge, I just cut those with scissors to make them straight there. And then down here, I would tuck in these fins like this. So this was all done with watercolor and paint pens right here. And they're some turtles. And I turned this into a seahorse. I'm sorry, you guys, I know it's jumping in and out, but just hang on. I gave her some green hair, and there's another one. So on these edges, you can see the edges. If I was gonna frame it, I would just have that under, you know, the frame right here. I've got my crop marks. So the other thing I do when I make prints is when I'm designing these pieces, I know in advance the right proportion to actually make them for prints. So that way when I shrink it down, it will be good. Where's this one thing I wanted to show you? Okay, so that's my green-haired girl. All right, so this is one I did for a shop. Hold on, sorry. This is one I did for a shop for holiday time. So I turned these into cards, and I did a season's greetings, and I did this really pretty mermaid sitting on her rock with all of her pretty things. So this one had a lot of white in it and some paint pens on top of this hand-cut collage. And again, you can see all the fins, and then I would do these like little floral bouquets, kind of how I do my collages now. And then the writing was just writing. So this is right on the art paper, and the art paper is that same watercolor paper that I love. It's Fabriano, and it's 140-pound hot press. So watercolors, collage, best for little note cards. All right. So then I got into this like fairy mode. So she's like Pippi Longstocking with her stockings. Aren't they so cute? So this one was a lot going on. I'm going to put it really close so you can see because they're really fun details. And again, using lots of different papers, lots of different, I'm trying to read something from Roxanne. Do you use a fixative archival spray to preserve? No, I have not used a fixative on here, and I you know what I'll do is I'll do a little research because I'm sure there is one for watercolor. I just don't know about spraying on the collage pieces, but I know there is a way to protect it. I just haven't really done a good job in protecting these. I do spray all my acrylics all the time with an acrylic archival spray. A matte spray. So I'll find out, and I'm sure there's something. I just have to do a little research on it. I want to make sure that the paper doesn't get ruined. So here are some pieces. Most of this is collage, and then you can see in the blue flower, I did some paint pens over that. And then I'm going to slowly bring her down here. A lot of these are those art papers, like the 2 red flowers with the lines. I cut those right out of the art papers. And you can't tell, but her wings are gold. Let's see if I can shimmer it a little bit. Her wings are gold, and that doesn't really come out on prints anyway, but there's a shine to it. I did put some Mod Podge or matte medium on her wings. And I put a tiny bit of, I think this was toilet paper, which is so hard to find right now. But when I was in college, I did this one art project where we used toilet paper and matte medium. And so it gives like a little translucent effect. And so I did this on the wings. So that's a kind of a fun little thing that you can do, which is kind of funny now I think about it. And So she's got her little pink hair. That's all also done with watercolors. And then I take colored pencils, or I take really thin markers to kind of do some details. And her body is all watercolors too. And then her face is watercolor with some colored pencils. To get that kind of detail in her eyes and her lips, I had to go with pencils. So let's see if I can show you the top part. So it's this tree, and again, you can kind of see how you can see how I don't finish my edges, because when I take this to get a print, I'll crop this part right in Photoshop, so I kind of just ignore it. But I love how the tree is just going across here with the leaves and some really interesting things happening there. So that was really fun. It's really big. So sorry it's hard to show you the whole thing. I'll move her back. So that's my little fairy. And then I was still on a fairy kick when I did this little birthday cupcake fairy. So I'm going to show you the bottom, which is really fun. The bottom is these little half circles again. Sorry, let me just get it centered. Okay, there we go. You guys are probably all seasick right now. And so then I did little paint pens along here. Found some flowers, but what I really love in this piece is taking a book. This was a kid's book, and an old book that you could find at a rummage sale or something like that. And then I cut it with X-Acto knife, and I painted some of these different colors, and then I put them on here just as a unique kind of fun thing. So you can do that with anything in any of your collages, is take some books and do it that way. And then here are some more paint pens. So there's a lot of paint pen over watercolors happening here. I'll zoom that in with her cute little feet. And then she's sitting on top of this cupcake. And I think I must have written happy birthday so many times to fit in that little space. And then look at her hair. Is that so cute? It's like little cotton candy hair. And so that, you know what? That was done with acrylic paint. I can feel it. It's got a little tooth to it. And then again, watercolors here. And then my top. I do this a lot with my tops. And, oh, here's what I wanted to show you. So do you guys remember me talking about, whoopsie, here we go. It's right here. All right, so I'm going to show you guys this. The paint that I often use in watercolor are, I have them ready like a teacher. I was like all ready, but not quite. Not quite ready. So the watercolor that I use a lot are these Peerless ones. I'm gonna sit back up here so I'm not so close that you're scared and you'll leave me. Okay, so the Peerless watercolors are great. You can get these. They're super bright, but what I love about them is you can just actually cut them into strips. When I was walking around and going from room to room to figure out where to paint, I would just cut my strips and I would put them right on my board, and that was my traveling watercolor. So you can find these anywhere. I'm sure Amazon has them. They're super vibrant. They're like one of my favorite watercolors because they are so bright, and you can get different sets, and then you can make little travel things. And I think on one of my travel journals, I'm going to show you guys how I make these little strips, and that way you can just take it around, and all you need is water and a pen, or a paintbrush, not a pen. And okay, so that's one of them, another one of them. And yesterday when we were doing the collage, I wanted to show you guys these. So when you work in your collage, and I take my art and I scan it in and I send it to like a UPS store or Kinko's. I don't even know if they have Kinko's anymore. Do they? I don't even know. But I would get these printed on color. It's not photo paper, but it's really nice paper, okay? So this is good paper quality. Upside down. But then I would cut these up and use them in my collage. So so this is just a paper. Let me, where's my print? I have a print of her somewhere. But this is one of my favorites. This is the one that got ruined in the sunlight. But all of these little scales, they're all done by me taking these pages and cutting them up. So it's really fun. You can be really creative if you have a piece of art that you love, or you have something else like a photo of something. Take it and get a whole bunch of colors, get a whole bunch of copies made, and then you can use those in your collage. The other thing that I did was I took all of these big pieces. So again, this is so big. It's almost because it won't even fit. So I took all these big pieces that I did and I turned them into tiny little note cards, which is, you know, just like a cute little offering that I have, and I sell these at my local shops and stores and my online sites. But once you have a big piece of art, there's so many things that you can do with it. I took a few of these and I turned them into my tea towels. I didn't love them, so I don't carry them anymore, but you can be really creative and come up with so much stuff. You can take your art, you could put it on products in Shutterfly. I think my family has so many products of mine because I just keep reinventing how to make stuff out of it. It also was my background and for many, many, many years of doing that. So these, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'm sorry if it was a little wonky. And also, if it kept cutting out, I don't have the best internet, obviously, in my art studio, but I wanted to be in my art studio to show you guys. So a couple things I was thinking about. I had a whole bunch of ideas for next week, but for tomorrow, I'm hoping that I am gonna pick out a bunch of my favorite things in my studio, and we're gonna do like a little, like not Oprah, but Andrea's favorite studio things. And I think that would be really fun because I look around this room and it inspires me so much. There's so much color in here and little things that I save and I put around, and just like all my little things. I came in here yesterday afternoon and the 18-year-old and my 13-year-old were sitting in these two chairs. I have a chair right here. And they had been climbing trees. Their feet were so dirty. I opened this door and it smelled so bad. I couldn't even, they were just sitting here on their phones, just having the time of their lives. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, no boys allowed. No boys allowed in my room. But I thought tomorrow I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show you around. And then next week I've got some really fun things planned too. So I want you guys to stay with me. I have, I think, another week or so of this, and then what I'll do is I'll start turning my Facebook lives into maybe a weekly thing when we kind of are told to get back, get back outside and do stuff. I haven't been anywhere in so long, but I do want to pull one of my favorite boxes of quotes for you guys. I think Christina, oh, you're welcome, Christina. I'm so glad. I'm so happy to share with you guys. I really wish you were all here right in my studio. We could have tea and wine and chit chat, and I love sharing. It's one of the reasons why I love doing open studios so much. So, okay, so I'm gonna mix these up, and I'm hoping you're all having a wonderful day. I cannot believe it's Wednesday. I woke up again, literally said to myself, I just woke up. And now I woke up again. It's Groundhog Day again. Okay, so I'm gonna pull our card. All right, I got one. Oh, how many times have I done that? All right, so that card is going over here. That's the sort of like all about Gabrielle. Now I gotta go back, grab one. Okay, I got one, top one. All right, so the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. I think we had this one before too, and it's all about peace. I'm going to turn around so you can see. Look at that beautiful writing and all that art. It's so fantastic. I'm so inspired by all of these cards. I want to start working on my journal even more. So I did more in my journal last night, and I'm going to show you guys that either tomorrow or next week. And if you guys have any questions, or if there's anything you guys want me to chat about in the next couple weeks, make sure you let me know. If you can just write a comment or send me a message. And I'm so grateful that you're here with me. And I'm so glad that you liked my mermaids. And I'll repost this on YouTube, so you can always check it out there too. They'll be there for a long time. And hopefully it wasn't too wonky and shaky and you're feeling not too car sick. All right? Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Have a fantastic day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.